I'm well overdue for an update on my vintage TMNT collection, and in the time since my last Turtles pickups video, I've scored some absolute gems. I got them loose and complete, sealed in package, and even a dodgy bootleg. Let's rip into it. What's going on, guys? I appreciate you tuning into today's episode. Like I mentioned at the top, today I'm sharing with you my most recent batch of vintage TMNT figures, and I've got a stack of them, so let's rip straight into it. I'm going to kick things off with two figures that I've got Matt from Keep On Collecting to thank because, as I've mentioned in previous videos, last year Matt let me piggyback on my US order, and I was able to score a couple of really cool figures from eBay in the US. First up, we've got the 1991 Chrome Dome. I love this figure. I've been trying to track down Chrome Dome for quite a while now. He is complete. He's got both of his wings, his belt, both swords, the longer sword and the short sword. He's also got this really cool three-pointed flail and the awesome sai accessory as well. Now, I'm a sucker for weapon storage because a lot of these vintage TMNT figures came with more weapons than they're able to hold. So I love the fact that Chrome Dome can sheath both of his swords on the back of the belt there. That's a cool feature. And of course, the standout feature with this guy is that vac metal, and it's in beautiful condition. It's really tricky to assess the condition of vac metal in photographs because of the reflection. So when I ordered this guy, I was pretty much hoping for the best, and I'm really happy with the condition that he's arrived in. Super shiny, chrome's in nice shape. So yeah, all in all, really happy to have Chrome Dome in the collection and can't wait to get Chrome Dome on the shelf. Now, the other figure that came from the States was this guy right here, the 1991 Shell Kicking Raph. And I've got to be honest with you guys, I am starting to fatigue a little bit with all the cosplaying turtles in the line, and the Sewer Sports line is a pretty good example of that. But I've come this far, and it's nice to have another complete one in the collection, especially my guy Raph. And like I said, this figure is complete. He comes with both of his balls. Now, one of those balls is a more typical soccer ball. The other one is actually sculpted to look like a squished foot soldier, which is actually really cool. I didn't notice those details until I had this figure in my hand. So that's always the cool part about collecting vintage TMNT. There's just so many details in the sculpts of a lot of these figures, and also the accessories that, you know, a lot of them you don't even notice until you have them in your hand. So that's pretty cool. And also the goal net. So yeah, cool to have another Sewer Sports figure to get closer to completing that series of figures. And just like the other Sewer Sports figures, the Shell Kicking Raph has like the wind-up action feature with the kick here. But because of that, I'm thinking this guy might be pretty tricky to stand up because he holds his leg at a kind of an awkward angle there. So we'll have to fiddle around and probably get him on a stand to stand him up. But yeah, always good to have another complete figure in the collection. Speaking of Raphs, next up I've got two more versions of my favourite turtle, both of which I like quite a bit more than the Shell Kicking Raph, and that's because they more closely resemble the versions of the turtles that we grew up watching. The first one is the 1992 Toon Raph. Now, this is my first figure in the Toon series, and I quite like these turtles. So these are obviously designed to kind of divert from the comic style face sculpts that we saw earlier on in the line and represent the turtles more so as they appeared in the original animated series. And I quite like these turtles. I like the color-coded weapons, so all of Raph's weapons are red, the pearlescent paint finish, the kind of more cartoony head sculpts, and these all have play features with a button on the back there. So in the case of Toon Raph, we've got his head spinning there, and that works nicely, so that's fun. And this Toon Raph is almost complete. He's got both of his sais. He has his awesome little turtle communicator accessory there that's got lots of nice sculpting details in it. And we've also got this really cool lenticular TV accessory. So he's just missing his pizza disc accessory and he will be complete. And yeah, like I said, my first Toon figure in the collection. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying to track down more of these Toon turtles.
Sounds like fun!
Yeah, dude! We had ice cream and jelly pizza!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Toon Turtles!
Next up, we've got one of my favourite incarnations of the Turtles in the vintage line, and I'm talking about the Movie 3 Samurai Turtles with Movie 3 Raph. And I love these figures. I love the colours, I love the sculpting and paint details. You know, just a really cool look for the Turtles, and they've got some great accessories as well. This Movie 3 Raph is far from complete, but he's got the bare essentials as far as like me picking up these turtles. I like to find them complete, but when it comes to the Movie 3 turtles, as long as I've got their primary weapon, so in the case of Raph, his two sais, and these awesome honor guard masks that to me really make these figures, then I'm definitely happy to pick these up. So yeah, a really cool Movie 3 Raph added to the collection. And next up, sticking with the Movie 3 Turtles, we've got this awesome Movie 3 Michelangelo figure. Now, I'm not a fan of the term 99% complete. I think it's one of those terms on eBay that makes us roll our eyes a little bit. But I think this Movie 3 Michelangelo fits the bill because he's got both of his nunchucks, he has the awesome honor guard mask, and then he has his secondary weapon. So he's got his fist dagger, the awesome little sun knife, and the really cool time-traveling scepter. The only thing that it's missing is the tiny little ball that goes inside these time-traveling scepters. And I mean, you can't even see that when these things are on display, so I'm not even going to sweat that. But yeah, I'm really happy to have the Movie 3 Michelangelo in the collection. I believe someone in the comments of a Mutagents live stream actually mentioned that the Movie 3 Michelangelo figure is the most movie accurate in terms of the colors. I couldn't verify that for sure. I'd have to give it a watch again and take an up close look. But this Movie 3 figure might have the best colors in my opinion. I love the turquoise and the orange pads. I mean, this is just a really cool looking figure. So much nice detail. And once again, I love the color coded weapons, but the colors of the weapons are randomized. So Mikey has purple weapons, you know, Raph has blue weapons, Donnie has orange weapons, so it's like they mix the colors up with the weapons on the Movie 3 Turtles. But again, it's just like a fun pop of color that really adds to the look of these figures when they're on display. So I'm really happy to have both of those Movie 3 figures in the collection. So next up, we break from the Turtles themselves and go back to some of the other awesome mutant characters in the line with two figures that I actually picked up from a friend of the channel, Adam. I've mentioned Adam previously a couple of videos back. Adam is actually parting with a lot of really cool pieces from his personal collection and primarily using his Facebook page to sell them. And he's got some awesome items up for grabs from vintage lines like TMNT, Masters of the Universe, and many more. So I'll put a link to Adam's Facebook page in the description of this video, but I got some absolute beauties from Adam. First up, we've got the 1991 King Lionheart figure. Now, a mutant lion is one thing. I mean, we're in a world of mutagen ooze when it comes to the Turtles, but a mutant lion styled as a medieval royal mutated by Shredder from a Shakespearean actor is definitely a weird character in a whole line of weird characters. But I really like this King Lionheart figure. I think he looks awesome. The orange fur with that royal blue and the gold accessories and that awesome mutant lion face sculpt. I think this figure's great. He's got classic weapons and he is complete. Like any medieval king, he's got the shield, the sword, and the scepter. So yeah, really happy to have King Lionheart in the collection. And this figure was actually on my 2024 wish list that I covered off in my live stream with Matt from Keep On Collecting to start the year, because King Lionheart was the last original character that I needed to complete the 1991 wave. So I'm super happy to be able to tick off King Lionheart and have him complete in the collection this early in the year. So yeah, big shout out to Adam for that one. Next up from Adam, we've got another mutant ally to the Turtles with this 1991 Sergeant Bananas figure, and I love this figure. From the green and yellow camouflage jumpsuit to that combat helmet with the banana peel and that wicked mutant gorilla head sculpt, Sergeant Bananas is awesome. Bananas only comes with a couple of weapons, but they're absolute beauties. You've got the iguana gun, you've got the jungle snack belt, both of which have tons of sculpted detail that you can stare at for ages and you know, pick up new features. And most importantly for me, the accessory that I actually bought this figure for, because I did already have an incomplete Bananas in the collection, was this guy right here, Larry the Lemur. This little sidekick accessory, an accessory that for whatever reason is quite tricky to track down. And unusually, he's actually molded in a different color to Bananas' other accessories, which you don't often see in the TMNT line. So yeah, really happy to have a nice, clean, complete Bananas in the collection along with Larry the Lemur. So yeah, big shouts to Adam for those two pieces. Really happy to have them in my collection, mate. Alrighty, next up I've got a couple of really sweet pieces from my buddy Carl at Retro Cartel Collectables, starting with the 1991 Make My Day Leo figure. Now, I think it was my last vintage TMNT pickups video where I shared the 1991 Hose 'em Down Don, the firefighter Don figure, and although Playmates didn't release all 4 turtles in like first responder mode or emergency worker mode, I was really keen to get Make My Day Leo to display next to Hose 'em Down Don, so we've got the police officer and the firefighter together. And Make My Day Leo comes with some awesome accessories. He's got the Magnum, he's got the really cool belt with the handcuffs. Oddly enough, a nunchuck accessory, that's a weird one. Now, when I picked this up from Carl, the only accessory it was missing was the shield, but I since managed to track one of those down, so now we've got Make My Day Leo complete in the collection. Now, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I am starting to fatigue a little bit with all the cosplaying Turtles figures, But for some reason I really like this Make My Day Leo figure. The colours are really cool with the turquoise, the orange weapons, and the really cool turtle shell details. And having Hose 'em Down Don to display next to this guy, I think they're going to make a nice pair on display. So yeah, really happy to have Make My Day Leo in the collection. Next up, we get to what is my favourite piece in this video, and once again, big shout out to Carl at Retro Cartel because he sourced this for me around Christmas, and if he hadn't, this would have been right up there on the 2024 wish list, and I'm talking about the 1992 5th anniversary Leo figure. Check out that beautiful gold chrome commemorative Leo. I love this thing. It's sealed in a super straight box. The text on the box really sells this thing as a collector's piece. It is limited edition. I haven't been able to track down the production quantity of this. If you happen to know how many of these Playmates produced, definitely let me know in the comments. The box does state specifically it is a limited edition individually numbered turtle. The number on mine is 94,105. Again, no idea how many exactly Playmates produced, but it has been a relatively tricky piece to track down. So yeah, big shout out once again to Carl. Interestingly, if you look at the sculpt, particularly the head sculpt, it's actually a 1988 Donnie, but completely finished in gold vac metal, aside from the katana hilts, the blue trim, and the teeth. But even the gaps in between the teeth are all finished in that beautiful gold chrome. So this thing looks awesome. It's definitely staying in box, and it's a really nice capstone to my TMNT collection because I'm only collecting all of the figures up to 1992, and this is the 1992 5th anniversary figure. Just a really nice way to cap off that collection. And yeah, really happy to have it now in the collection. And once again, a big shout out to Carl at Retro Cartel Collectables for sourcing this piece for me. And just like Adam's Facebook page, a link to Retro Cartel Collectables will be in the description for this video. But yeah, once again, can't thank you enough, Carl, because this 5th anniversary Leo is just beautiful. So that's pretty much it for the figures. With that said, I've been stacking up the accessories to complete figures that I've already got in my collection. And we'll get to the accessories in just a minute. But first, check out this awesome bootleg. My brother found this at a flea market, and it's actually a Turtles Fighters figure. And it's shocking, but in the best possible way. Get a load of those chompers. When you look at this figure up close, you can tell that it's like a bootleg of a bootleg of a bootleg. Like the mold has been ripped off so many times that it's completely shot. The fingers are like paper thin, but it is just awesome. I'm really happy that my brother found this for me at the flea market. I might have to keep my eyes peeled now for like a carded version to display alongside this figure. So yeah, big shout out to Mitch for keeping his eyes peeled, and hopefully I can track down some more of these Turtles Fighters or other bootlegs. Alrighty, let's talk accessories. So, vintage TMNT figures, like a lot of other toy lines from the fine folks at Playmates Toys, came with a lot of weapons. So when it comes to collecting vintage TMNT, a big part of the battle is tracking down all those accessories. So, me and my buddy Dean, we tried something different. We pooled our resources and we went halvies on a bulk lot of vintage TMNT parts that were selling online. And just after the new year, we got together and we had a great morning dividing our spoils. Check it out. I'm here with Dino. You already know him. Totally Taylor Retro Hunters.
How are you guys? Good to see you.
And we went halvies on a mad lot of turtle parts. Some really, really cool pieces. Some stuff that certainly I need to complete some figures in my collection, but also some doubles that I can move on. Dean the same, and you know, we can put some money back into the collection. So we've sorted them by character, and now we're just going to divvy them up. We're going to draft them out, and let's see what we can find.
Can't wait, let's do it.
First pick for me is never in question. I've got to go for the Mutagen Man's Garbage Guts bits along with the spare gun here. I've got 6 of the 7. I need that little bone. I'm never going to find it on its own, so I've got to take advantage of the opportunity to get them all still on the sprue, which, I mean, how rare is it to find that?
You just don't see it. It's going to display so nicely.
Oh, so much better like that still on the sprue as opposed to tiny little microscopic parts in a baggie. So that's awesome. That's my first pick. What do you got? What are you going for?
Yeah, well, I have to go with Wingnut.
Okay.
And we've got Wingnut's gun. We've got Screw Loose. So I have both of those pieces, but to complete mine, I need his grenade.
That's the bit that I find for Wingnut's the hardest to find.
It's just small.
It's tiny.
Easy to lose that.
Second up is just the pieces that I need most. Randomly in this Turtles lot, we've got a couple of pieces of the Super Mario Brothers Ertl little accessories here, which you never see. So I'm stoked to find those. I needed this bit here for my Luigi, but that'll be a spare little gun there for Mario. So that's awesome. Happy with those. That's my second pick.
I'm going to go with the weapons lot for Slash, all in the pink. So finally have all them. I do have a few of them, but now we've got them all.
Good pick. Good pick. I'm going to go Rat King's parts because I've got a spare Rat King without his weapons. That'll complete them. It's got the little rat. That'll complete him. I can move him on and put some money back into the collection.
Nice. So I'm going to go with all the weapons for Chrome Dome. So all these weapons are intact there. He only has one of his wings, but so still need to hunt down
That's
that
annoying.
other wing. That
annoying.
is going to be annoying.
I'm going Ace Duck's parts.
Yeah.
Because complete Ace Ducks are really hard to find. So I just think this is a smart lot to grab. All 4 grenades, plus the wings, everything but the little bandolier. So I'm
You ever noticed the grenade sort of looks like a mouser?
I hadn't noticed that before, but that's actually an awesome little detail.
Baxter Stockman. So just this part of his fly swatter always eluded me. So got him. Complete Baxter Stockman now.
So all in all, it was a really fun and efficient way for Dean and I to add a bunch of vintage accessories to our collection to be able to complete figures that we already have, but also complete some doubles that we can sell and reinvest in the collection and hopefully do this again because it was a lot of fun. Now, a lot of what I picked up were doubles, so I'm not going to go through them one by one, but the highlight for me was this awesome complete sprue of garbage guts bits for the 1990 Mutagen Man figure, one of my favourite figures in the vintage line. Now, in case you weren't aware, Mutagen Man came with a sprue like this of 7 different little tiny garbage guts accessories. Now, these were designed to go inside the figure, you fill it with water and they float around, which is a really cool concept, but it's not something that I'm looking to do now with a 34-year-old figure. So, you know, rather than have those bits loose just sitting on the floor of the shelf, they display really nicely. It's a cleaner way to display them, to have them complete on the sprue. So this was definitely the highlight for me. Dean's Mutagen Man was complete, so I really appreciate him giving way to me on this one. Then from a doubles perspective, I was able to get complete weapon sets for Ace Duck, Razar, Metalhead, Ground Chuck, Rocksteady and Rat King, and I've got to thank Dino for hooking me up with the belts for those because they're really going to help in completing those figures to sell and then reinvest in the collection. Like I said, hopefully do this again because it was a ton of fun. Randomly, there were also some non-turtle parts in the collection that both Dean and I managed to get that we needed to complete figures in our collections. First up, I got this accessory. This is actually for the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie line Luigi figure. This line was made by Ertl, and although I remember not enjoying the film when it first came out, although I am due for a rewatch now, more than due, I actually really like the figures. It's a small line of only 6 figures. I've got the Luigi. I picked it up incomplete from Alfie's Vintage Toys here in Sydney, so really happy to have the accessory for Luigi. And I also picked up an accessory that I needed to complete my Kenner Real Ghostbusters Fright Features race stance. So yeah, all in all, a really good way to go for Dean and I to add a whole bunch of accessories into our collection in a really cost-effective and fun way, and definitely something we're keen to do again. But it was a fairly long process, and that's why I didn't show it in full in this video. I try to keep my videos as tight as I can, but next time around, if it's something that you'd like to see in full, definitely let me know in the comments. And also make sure you go check out Totally Taylor Retro Hunters now on YouTube, and I'll put a link in the description. But if that's not enough vintage accessories for you, I picked up a few more from Carl at Retro Cartel and also Owen at Here for Toys. Carl hooked us up with the neutralizer weapon that I needed to complete my 1990 Triceraton figure. So I'm stoked to have Triceraton now complete in the collection. And finally, Owen from Here for Toys sorted me out with the last parts that I needed to complete my 1991 Talkin' Mikey and my 1992 Head Droppin' Mikey. And these versions of the Turtles came with some really wacky weapons like pizza box lid shields and nunchucks made of sausages. So yeah, really stoked to have those 2 versions of Mikey complete. And I think that is just about it. So there you have it, guys. The vintage TMNT collection continues to grow. 88, 89 and 90 are done. For 1991, I've got about 10 figures to go. For 1992, I've got about 25 or 30 figures to go. Playmates were not mucking around in 1992. They were absolutely pumping them out. So yeah, still a ways to go on the figures. And then you've got the vehicles, but that's a whole different kettle of fish for another day. So we'll leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, you're a dead set champion. I hope to hear from you in the comments or on Instagram at Crusher Collects. Drop us a line, let us know what you're on the hunt for or what you're picking up. I hope you guys out there are all doing really well. I'll see you back soon for the next one. Next time you see me, I'll have a different look because I got the world's greatest shave next week. So yeah, until I see you next, cheers.